Well, to shed more light on this, we have the pleasure to have this phone with Dr. Abdel Wahab, Vice Chairman of the Arab Federation for Digital Economy. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Well, Dr. Ghunaim, what is your comment on the President's interest in his speech today before the closing session of the G20 summit in India in the field of technology as an essential element in solving the world problems? Technology.
Yeah, I think the participation of His Excellency Mr. President Abdel al-Sisi in the closing session of the G20 summit in New Delhi in India, where the G20 added the African Union to the G20 to be the same like the European Union.
Yes.
I think His Excellency Mr. President addressed the international crisis and the need to adopt reasonable measures to ensure a better future for humanity using the digital economy and artificial intelligence to increase the productivity and generate new jobs and growth the investment without the impact of the decreasing the employment, because all the developing countries based on the labor-intensive industries like the textiles and all these things. I think at the same time, he addressed that for the sustainable development, and he mentioned for the Paris Agreement, we must find the suitable financing for the sustainable development projects in the developing countries to decreasing the climate gases like all the methane and all these things.
Yes.
And I think again he concerning about the digital gap between the developed countries and developing countries. We need to transfer the technology to help the developing countries to be in the same level of the developed countries.
Yes, concerning this important point, which is the technological gap, that the President said the efforts must be exerted to close the big technological gap between countries so that technological development does not become another reason for inequality. So concerning what is meant by the technological transformation, and is there an agenda or a roadmap that could get the countries closer to each other in this field and rift this gap?
Yeah, I think there is a lot of developing countries get a big step. I think in Egypt, since 5 years ago, His Excellency Mr. President Abdel al-Sisi announced the digital transformation initiatives, which is based on some pillars. We're developing the digital infrastructure in Egypt. We're building the capacity of our human resources, building the biggest data centers in Africa and in Egypt. We're developing the Egypt platform to offer the digital services to Egyptian people. And again, we did the biggest step for unifying data and databases in Egypt, which is delivering now around 155 digital services to the citizen by paying in the digital form through the digital banks and the digital platforms. And at that time, we're decreasing the financial inclusion in Egypt.
Yes, Dr. Ghunaim, what the developing countries, what can the developing countries need from the developed countries in order to catch with the technology train? What are the kind of help that the developed countries could help or to provide help for the developing countries in fields of technology, of course, whether through experience or training?
Yeah, I think nowadays there is a commercial war between America and China for the artificial intelligence and high tech, most of the developing countries, they didn't agree easily to transfer the technology to the developing countries. And nowadays, I think the artificial intelligence have a biggest dangerous products for the developing countries, because now the artificial intelligence products and applications going decreasing the job opportunities. I think all these things suffering from all the developing countries suffering from these new technologies.
Yes,
and we haven't any hope for the transferring of these technologies to the developing countries.
So it's affecting the developing countries. What are the other reasons that the artificial intelligence could affect the developing countries?
Yeah, I think most of the new applications for the applications for the fourth industrial revolutions are like the artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things, the big data analytics, and the virtual reality and augmented reality. All these biggest applications need a biggest funding. We need from the banks and international funding to fund the developing countries in lower profit, to help them for transferring this technology.
Yes, so this means the funding means it needs a big budget. So how could we achieve this budget?
I think the main problem, problem for the transfer of technology is the budget, as you said.
Yes.
Because do you know, the digital economy now, it is around 50% from the global GDP, which is the highest in this 2023.
Yes.
The developing countries, they haven't any money to fund this technology. This is why they need funding from the international funds. And again, we need to transfer this technology and invest in the developing countries.
Yes, Doctor, what are the professions that is at risk of being to disappear, I mean?
Sorry, again, please?
Yes, what are the professions that could disappear for the reason of the appearance of the artificial intelligence?
Yeah, I think all the traditional jobs will disappear. All the traditional jobs, even now in America, the lawyer job is disappearing because there is a biggest artificial intelligence platform now doing the same job. This is why the developing countries, all the industrial areas there depending on the intensive labor. It's not easy to replace these intensive labor industries by artificial intelligence applications.
Yes, I thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your valuable information. Dr. Abdel Wahab, Vice Chairman of the Arab Federation for Digital Economy. Thank you very much for joining us over the phone. Ladies and gentlemen, a short break and I'm going to be back with you.